This is the Agentic Executive, your daily intelligence briefing for high-leverage operators. In under 10 minutes, you get one core idea, 3 moves, and a concrete action, so you can make your next move count.
And the uncomfortable part is, your org is already perfectly designed to produce the behavior it's producing. If you're seeing firefighting, metric theater, or weird AI decisions, that's not random. That's your incentive structure telling the truth.
Exactly. The hook for today. Small incentive mismatches, especially around metrics and automations, quietly amplify into huge amounts of misaligned work. Humans chase the wrong scorecards. AI optimizes the wrong proxies. And you end up funding a lot of accidental work that looks productive but doesn't move the needle.
So we're going to give you a very pragmatic tool, a 45 to 60-minute incentive audit you can run on one workflow. Not a giant reorg, not an OKR offsite. One workflow, one table, one fix. The system reveals the truth when you put it all in one place.
Core insight first. Then we'll go into the 3 moves. Here it is. Incentives drive behavior more reliably than memos. You can send strategy decks, town halls, and values posters all day. But what people actually do and what your AI actually optimizes will follow the rewards, the metrics, and the triggers you've embedded in the system.
If a sales rep knows they're measured on quarterly revenue, not on churn 9 months later, they don't wake up thinking, how can I damage our LTV today? They just follow the scoreboard in front of them. Same thing with AI. If your model is tuned for click-through, don't be surprised when it optimizes for clickbait instead of insight.
So, if you want different behavior, more strategic work, fewer perverse outcomes, fewer AI surprises, you don't start with another memo. You audit and adjust the incentives. That's your real control surface.
And this is durable. Tools and buzzwords will change. Proxy optimization and misaligned incentives are forever. If you build the skill of spotting and rewiring incentives, you stay ahead of a lot of organizational drift.
Let's get tactical. Move 1. Map rewards. The question is, for one recurring workflow, what is everyone and everything actually being rewarded for? Pick a single workflow. For example, inbound customer support tickets, your hiring shortlist pipeline, or your AI-generated content funnel. Don't boil the ocean. One lane only.
Then you build a simple table. Column 1, the actor, could be a human role like support rep or hiring manager, or a system like routing algorithm or content generation model.
Column 2, explicit metrics. What's on their literal scorecard? KPIs, SLAs, targets, bonus drivers, dashboard widgets. If a rep's performance review calls out tickets closed per hour, write that down.
Column 3, implicit rewards. What actually gets praised, promoted, or protected? For example, does leadership celebrate heroic last-minute saves more than quiet, boring prevention? Do engineers get social credit for shipping features, not for refactoring debt no one sees?
Column 4, automation and AI triggers. This is the part most teams miss. What events trigger a bot, an agent, or a routing rule? Things like, if ticket priority is low, auto-respond with template. Or if lead score is above 80, automatically fast-track to sales. That's incentive wiring for your systems.
And finally, column 5, what gets escalated versus ignored? Escalation is a powerful implicit incentive. If something escalates quickly, people steer around it or toward it, depending on how painful that path is.
When you lay all that out in one table for just one workflow, you usually get that oh moment. You see that the team, the manager, and the AI are each playing a slightly different game.
Move 2. Detect proxy loops. Now we interrogate the table with 3 quick checks: metric drift, short-term bias, and automation amplification. First, metric drift. Ask, where did a metric that used to be a decent proxy for value become the target itself? Classic example, tickets closed in support. Originally a rough proxy for responsiveness. Over time, it turns into close anything you can, as fast as you can, even if the underlying issue isn't really solved.
You see it in product too. Monthly active users was once a useful proxy. Then growth teams start optimizing for any activity ping, random notifications, nags, low-value engagement, because the metric gets treated as the goal, not as a lens on real value. Patterns create power, but only if you're tracking the right pattern.
Second, short-term optimization. Where do short-term wins beat long-term value in your table? If sales comp is 90% quarterly revenue and 0% churn, of course they'll lean into high-pressure closes. If engineering is rewarded for shipping dates and not reliability, you'll quietly accumulate operational debt.
And with AI, short-term optimization often looks like maximize click-through this week, rather than maintain trust and accuracy for the next year. The AI isn't evil, it's just very literal about the objective you gave it.
Third, automation amplification. Ask, where are your automations and AI agents amplifying a bad incentive signal? If your routing bot prioritizes tickets based solely on SLA time remaining, it will always pull attention to the edge of violation, not necessarily to impact or customer value.
That's the dangerous combo, a slightly wrong metric amplified by always-on automation. You go from a few edge cases to systemic misalignment at machine speed.
So you scan your table with those 3 lenses. Where has the metric become the target? Where are people and AI, explicitly or implicitly, to prefer short-term optics over long-term value? And where is automation hardwiring that behavior into the system?
Once you see 2 or 3 of those, you don't need a 40-page report. You already know where the misaligned energy is leaking out of the system.
Move 3. Rewire. We're going to give you 3 minimal fixes you can deploy without a giant reorg or a big engineering project. Narrow the metric, add a human checkpoint, and introduce a counterbalance metric. First, narrow the metric. If tickets closed is driving bad behavior, don't throw it out. Make it more specific. For example, tickets resolved on first contact, or tickets resolved with no repeat contact within 7 days. Same with AI. Instead of maximize clicks, use maximize qualified leads generated, or maximize helpful responses rated 4 or 5 stars by users.
You're not trying to invent the perfect metric. You're just tightening the proxy so it tracks value a little more closely and is harder to game. Precision drives agency.
Second, add a human checkpoint at the highest risk point in the workflow. This is your minimal patch when the underlying systems are hard-coded. For example, require a quick human review before an AI-generated email goes to a high-value customer, or before an automated hiring filter rejects candidates entirely.
The key is to be surgical. One checkpoint at the leverage point where a bad incentive could cause outsized harm. You don't want to drown the org in approvals. You want one smart interception where human judgment rescues the system from its own proxies.
Third, introduce a counterbalance metric. If you have a powerful incentive pushing in one direction, add a small but visible metric that pulls the other way. For example, pair tickets per day with customer satisfaction or repeat contact rate. Pair time to hire with new hire 6-month retention.
In AI, if you're pushing for speed or volume, add a lightweight quality or safety metric. percentage of content needing manual correction, or number of escalations due to AI error. It's not about perfection. It's about reminding the system and the humans that there is a second dimension that matters.
Let's run a few quick examples so you can see this in context. Then we'll land on your action step. Example 1. Customer Support SLA. You map the workflow and realize reps are measured heavily on tickets closed and average handle time. Your AI triage bot prioritizes by SLA countdown. Implicitly, people are rewarded for speed and volume, not outcome.
You run the proxy checks and see metric drift. Close has become resolve in people's minds. Short-term optimization. It's better for the rep to close a ticket quickly than to sit with a complex root cause. Automation amplification. The triage bot keeps feeding them edge of SLA tickets, so deeper issues get deprioritized.
One simple fix. Narrow the metric from tickets closed to tickets resolved with no reopen in 7 days, and add a counterbalance metric of customer satisfaction score for the top 20% of accounts. Optionally, add one human checkpoint.
Example 2. Hiring shortlist pipeline. Your recruiter is measured on time to fill and number of candidates in pipeline. The screening tool auto-rejects resumes that don't match a very narrow keyword set. Implicitly, the system rewards speed and volume, not quality or diversity of thought.
Proxy loop. Keywords were once a proxy for relevant experience. They've drifted into a hard gate. Short-term optimization. Recruiters keep the funnel full and fast, even if it's full of lookalike candidates. Automation amplifies this by silently filtering out unconventional but high-potential profiles.
Minimal fix. Add a human checkpoint for a small random sample of auto-rejected candidates each week, just to see what the system is throwing away. And add a counterbalance metric, percentage of hires from non-traditional backgrounds, or percentage of hires rated highly by managers after 12 months.
Example 3. AI-generated content funnel. Marketing is tasked with publish X pieces per week, and the AI is tuned for volume and surface-level engagement. You get a flood of content that technically hits the quota but dilutes brand and overwhelms customers.
You spot metric drift. Pieces published was meant as a throughput guardrail, not a North Star. Short-term optimization, marketing looks productive in the dashboard, even if performance per piece drops. Automation amplification. The content model happily cranks out more of the same because nobody told it to care about depth or impact.
One fix. Narrow the metric from pieces per week to pieces per week that meet a minimum engagement or conversion threshold. Add a counterbalance metric like average time on page or qualified leads per piece, and put in one human checkpoint, a quick editorial review of anything that's going to a key segment or high visibility channel.
Across all 3 examples, the pattern is the same. You're not punishing people or blaming AI. You're adjusting the game they're playing.
Let's land this with a concrete action you can run this week.
Action step. Schedule a 45-60-minute incentive audit on one recurring workflow. Just one. Bring the people who own it, plus someone who understands the AI or automation involved.
Step 1 in that meeting? Build the table. Actors, explicit metrics, implicit rewards, automation triggers, and escalation paths. Get it all on one page. The system will start revealing the truth as soon as you see the full wiring.
Step 2. Run the 3 checks. Where has the metric become the target? Where are short-term optics beating long-term value? And where are your automations amplifying a slightly wrong signal?
Step 3. Choose one corrective rule. Narrow one metric, add one human checkpoint, or introduce one counterbalance metric. Make the change small enough that you can ship it quickly, but clear enough that you expect behavior to shift.
Then measure outcomes for 2 cycles. 2 sprints, 2 weeks, 2 reporting periods. Watch not just the numbers, but the behavior and the narratives in the team. If you see energy tilt in a better direction, you've just proven the leverage of incentive design inside your own system.
If this briefing helped you see one place where incentives might be quietly steering your org off course, don't let it stay abstract. Run the audit, make the one change, then bake this into how you design every future workflow.
If you want a steady stream of these kinds of decision tools, short, practical, and built for high agency operators, take 10 seconds and follow or subscribe to the Agentic Executive in your podcast app. That's how you keep this briefing loop running for yourself. Make your next move count. Stay agentic.